What is going on, everybody? And in this video, I'm providing you guys a state of the market and some stock picks for February 16th, 2022. So going into today, we actually had some strength and some different things. We gapped up. Something I kind of saw yesterday that I would imagine we probably would have gapped up, but we're holding and we're actually showing a lot of strength. We had some numbers come out this morning. They were not great. They were high inflation numbers again. Um, Tomorrow is really what's going to matter. We're going to have the FOMC meeting notes. They will come out at 2:30 Eastern Standard Time, and they will essentially depict details in the last FOMC meeting, and essentially in which Powell became extremely hawkish, and then a lot of the other different Fed members talking about trying to do some extreme cutting quickly before July, and looking at March 1st as being the first essentially time we're going to start raising rates. So that meeting in March is going to be extremely important. Any rally we have, I think, is going to be short-lived, so just be mindful of that. I think we can get a couple-day rally between now and then after tomorrow. Again, really just depends on how the market takes it. Looking for that initial pump fake and then some selling tomorrow, I think is a strong possibility. But then after that, after we digest, I think we can get a little bit of a pump going before then. Obviously, there's many other things that can happen between now and March 15th. But until then, I think we are pretty solid for at least another week or two. I think we can get a nice little run going, especially with some of these good earnings. But ultimately, another thing that's been in play here is Russia. Russia came out this morning, said everything was honky-dory, and that they were going to leave everybody alone, that they were just going to stand off. And then at the end of the day, we heard more news saying that just kidding, we got troops back on the border. And so the story keeps going back and forth. There was no clear, real direction of what's really going on in Russia. You hear just a lot of he said, she said, and it's a hot mess, to be honest. The market obviously liked the news this morning because it popped pre-market, and then I think depending on how we open tomorrow, and depending if we run into the FOMC meeting or the meeting notes, I think we could actually be very good. We might actually be bullish for a couple days if we do start running in the morning. I could see that being a very possible thing. If not, we will wait till 2:30. We may actually pump and then chop until then. Maybe a possibility too. Maybe we gap down. I mean, there's a lot of different scenarios in this particular situation because we are not sure how influential the meeting notes will be. Last FOMC, that we ran all the way up into the meeting as if the market knew what was going to happen. Then Powell came out. We got a pump fake, and then we slammed straight down pretty hard after that. So kind of looking to see what the market is going to do. I just know throughout the meeting, you don't really want to be playing that unless you give it time. In case it wants to sell or whatever the case is, you have to be very mindful that the volatility is definitely going to be there tomorrow. So going into tomorrow, the market itself, again, looking good. We really want to hold that 4,400 mark tomorrow is what we're looking at. But again, I think the way things are playing out, we tried to break the wedge and we came back down, now retesting it. Tomorrow kind of sets us up perfectly for this back in the wedge again. Do we actually break out tomorrow? Maybe we get good news and overnight digestion gaps us back over and we can start pushing back up. Again, I think any rally is going to be short-lived. I don't think we're going to hit all-time highs in this next rally. I think once we actually get numbers and rate raises, if that does happen in February, now it could very well come out that Powell says no rate raises, and then the market could go nuts from that point and try to attempt to go for all-time highs. It's also very positive that we could hit only that 50 basis points that we've already essentially tied in. the market could run from there, or we can go lower and run from there. But if we come any higher, that could really cripple the market and push us down even further. But again, I think this push, once we actually get rates, I think that push will set us up for the remainder of the year. So we have to be mindful of that. I don't think it's going to crater the market. It's only this temporary push. Everybody knew it was coming. So it's not like it wasn't televised. It's just the numbers and the time frame in which people are trying to get right. So the market itself, again, tomorrow I think is going to be a big day. Have to see how we open pre-market. If we start running, I think it's a telltale sign that the market is ready to go. I've seen the market's been running pretty solid every time. We aren't having weak bounces anymore. I think the market's pretty much hit a bottom. If we didn't hit a bottom, we would be seeing some weak pumps like we did on the way down. But now we're starting to see some pretty strong pumps every time we do sell off. So that's a good sign that it's only a matter of time, in my opinion, that we're going to start running from that point. So again, we want to watch this daily wedge is what I'm watching. And then watching that key level. If for some reason we do sell off like crazy, I'm really watching that 4,300 mark. That's a ways away from where we're currently sitting. But if there's something in that report that sometimes that is brought to the Fed's attention that nobody's aware of, obviously this is why people look at this particular document. We very well could revisit this area, this 4,300 mark. And fairly quickly, especially depending on the market is. If it seems like the Fed's going to be extremely hawkish coming into March, which I don't believe they are, because they've talked about things and they kept walking back a lot of their statements as not trying to be so hawkish. So we have to see how this plays out. But right now we're in a good spot. It's a higher low. So if we do get some decent notes tomorrow and see where the market opens, maybe we do pop back over this and get back over the 4,500 mark. I think that'd be a real positive if we do that. If we get hit and stay over 4,500 tomorrow with the notes, I think we're going to really start pushing back towards all-time highs. Again, I don't think we're going to hit that. The market is going to be wary coming into March in that next meeting. So that's what I got for SPX. Bitcoin still looking great. Again, going to be a great hedge moving forward. Still holding up. I think actually this weekend we could get a break of the 4,500 mark, which would be great. If we do break above that 4,500 mark, I think we're going back to revisit all-time highs, whichever that may be. Maybe that's 75K, 100K, like they say. I don't know about that, but we'll have to see. It really just depends on this whole inflation gauge. Again, Fed members have already talked about that supply and inflation are going to be a major issue going into 2023. So it might be a good catalyst to keep Bitcoin going into the rest of the year. So going into tomorrow, UPST, they just had earnings and they crushed it. They did extremely well. They beat by like 75%, I believe is what it was. So really watching this one tomorrow. I want to see how this holds. Key levels is 134 tomorrow. Again, this might actually sell off a lot overnight just because of the event we have tomorrow. In anticipation, people may not want to be holding going into the notes. So we have to see. But we like it to hold. Even if we do a Fibonacci here real quick. You're seeing key levels, the 119, the 124, and the 130 marks, essentially where I have my zones marked. I think if we could do a retest at 120, if for some reason we do start selling off, as long as we can hold that 120, I think it'd be really good. As soon as we get past the notes, I think this is going to be one of the ones you're going to want to grab. If it does sell off in anticipation and then the notes don't go so bad, the market starts pushing again. I think if we can hit that level and start pushing up, I think we would do really well. So I want to keep that in mind for tomorrow. Airbnb also did extremely well for earnings. It is very high though. So I'm kind of trying to keep that in mind. And you're going to have that 200 mark as well to try to beat tomorrow. More than likely for me, I would look for a retest at the 176 mark. And as long as it holds that, I'll hold that for another trip back to try to revisit I don't know about 200, but I think it could get pretty high from that point. Maybe it gets to 190, 180. We really have to see how the volatility is. It's already lost half its gains. Again, it's up pretty high already, so we have to see how Airbnb does. But one I do want to keep on watch tomorrow. Chips are doing very well. NVIDIA's got earnings tomorrow night. It's going to be a big one. I might actually try to YOLO this one tomorrow night. Get a cheap lotto for this one tomorrow. But I do like NVIDIA very well. All the chips have done very well, and this is, in my opinion, the leader right along with AMD. So we have to really see what this does do tomorrow. One thing you can do also is play AMD or play one of the other chips going into it as sympathy play. You get just as good a move. The numbers really tomorrow, it doesn't really matter. I think, again, if we start selling, kind of want to hold it on that 255 mark. But I don't really see it breaking the 269 until we actually have earnings. I mean, I could be wrong. It may actually start pushing tomorrow. If the market starts pushing, obviously, I think NVIDIA is going to push as well. So I want to keep the chips in NVIDIA on watch tomorrow. Coin is another one I want to keep on watch as well. This one has been pushing. I missed the grab today. I want to look at this level, key level tomorrow. That 203 mark tomorrow. If we get another retest of this, if it does hold, I want to get in this because I think Bitcoin might actually start running into the weekend, over the weekend, especially with if everything does go well with the report tomorrow. Again, we may not really know how the market's going to take it until Thursday morning. But I think from that point, it might be a better option to try to get that coin from that point. But one I want to keep on watch. Also, Shop has earnings first thing in the morning as well. So I want to keep an eye on Shop. Again, one of the biggest key levels here it's been holding is that 937 mark. We're looking for a breakout and actually a hold above that tomorrow. Again, another key level you have up here is going to be the 95, but we'll just go ahead and say that about the 1K mark. But if the market starts turning, if this thing starts turning, it's really going to start making up some ground. It's been held down, obviously, and Amazon did extremely well. So it'd be really interesting to see how Shop does going into tomorrow, first thing in the morning. But that is it pretty much for tomorrow. I want to keep it short and sweet because those are the ones I want to focus on. Those are the ones I believe you want to focus on. You want to focus on the ones that have the value and are start going. I could even mention Google. Keep a real close eye on Google. If the market churns, it's going to be one of your front runners. I would say Tesla, but Tesla is it's got a hard ceiling on that 141 mark or 941 mark. If you can't break that, Tesla's going to continue to struggle and chop until we actually get probably until next earnings. I wouldn't doubt it. So definitely have to watch that. But if you've made it this far, remember to drop a like button. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.